Don't trust your eyes. That is not a Nintendo Switch with sweet clear plastic Joy-Cons. In fact, it's not even made by Nintendo at all. That's right, it's a full-blown gaming PC in the shape of a Nintendo Switch. It's got controller buttons, joysticks, and a D-pad, and based on the marketing at least, it's got enough raw gaming dragon energy to compete with real handheld consoles while carrying the weight of a full Windows 10 installation. How, you might ask? Let me put it this way. If you saw the Gpd Win3 and you thought, man, how awesome would it be if they did that, but they went AMD? I'm holding the answer. Just like I hold the answer to who our sponsor is. War Thunder is an online military vehicle combat game that's free to play and tons of fun. Try it for free down below and get some special bonus items for signing up. Devices like the Aya Neo are clearly niche compared to purpose-built handheld consoles from the likes of Nintendo. But as the hardware has caught up to the idea of a handheld portable gaming PC, the popularity of these is absolutely exploding. As of filming this video, the Gpd Win3, which is kind of the incumbent in the category, has raised over $3 million on its Indiegogo campaign. And why shouldn't it? Honestly, for being hands-on, it's pretty great. Which means though, that the Neo here is going to have to be even greater in order to stand out. Aya's company history is short but fascinating. It was only founded at the start of 2020 by a man we'll be calling Uncle A, who dreamed of creating a truly zero compromises gaming experience that he could take with him anywhere. He ended up moving to Shenzhen, and despite having no obvious business experience, here he is a year later with a team of 11 people, over 1,000 pre-orders for the console in China, and an Indiegogo that's already raised $1.5 million. And we're gonna have that linked below, but I wouldn't recommend clicking it just yet because all of that sounds like a pretty unbelievable story, and we haven't even tried this thing out for you yet. Now, under normal circumstances, I like to crack open these kinds of devices to take a look at the internal layout, but what's cool is Aya actually saved me some trouble by sending over one of their limited edition units with a clear plastic shell. At the heart of it, we find their Raptor Hexacore Ryzen 5 4500U with Vega 6 integrated graphics, which I guess is their way of saying it has a Ryzen 5 4500U processor. I don't know where the Raptor stuff comes from. It's paired with 16 gigs of LPDDR4X memory clocked in at 4266 megahertz, and then up here is a full-sized M.2 slot with a 1TB Western Digital SN530 NVMe SSD. And over here we can see the 47 watt-hour battery. Now these would be pretty modest specs in a laptop, but handheld? They're a lot more impressive and really cool. On that note, by the way, the built-in all-copper cooler is small, but I would describe as fairly mighty. We did experience thermal throttling during heavy extended workloads, but it managed to hold our 6-core CPU at over 2.8 gigahertz and without getting unpleasantly loud. When it comes to general use, the Neo continues to improve. Aya offers a download on their website to JoyXoff, which allows you to use the controller inputs for mouse control, but it still falls behind the Win3's hardware keyboard that's hidden behind a sliding screen. To be clear, GPD's approach is not perfect. But if you've ever used the on-screen keyboard on a Nintendo Switch, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the experience is like on the Neo, where even typing something basic like lttstore.com, such fine merchandise, requires shifting your grip or reaching beyond the point of comfort. One cool quality of life improvement is the inclusion of these two 4-button clusters on each side. The left has Xbox-style start and select keys, a shortcut to Windows' game bar menu, and a toggle for the built-in green lighting. Ooh, should turn that on. While the right has the Windows and Escape keys and shortcuts to bring up Task Manager and the on-screen keyboard. Curiously though, this keyboard button summons the worthless classic Windows on-screen keyboard, so I would strongly recommend just pushing here in the bottom right corner and getting the touch appropriate one. What all of this tells me is that you could make a case for the Neo as a daily driver PC. It's got 3 USB Type-C 10 gigabit ports with DisplayPort 1.4 built in. I mean, that's better I/O than some decent sized laptops already. But then that argument falls apart a little bit unless you're willing to dock it every time you want to do more than just browse YouTube or Netflix, because it's just not that easy to use. Clearly, Uncle A was laser focused on building a portable gaming system. And for that, you know what, Uncle? You got a lot of things right, starting with the screen. The Neo's 7-inch HIPS panel has a peak brightness of 500 nits and resolution of just 1280 by 800. But you know what? That's actually a really good choice here. I wouldn't start doing all my Photoshop work on it, but it's bright and accurate enough that it's not distracting, and it offers reasonable pixel density while being much easier for the low-powered integrated graphics to drive at its native resolution. Now, it's only 60 Hertz, but given that we're looking at a little over an hour and a half of battery life in a moderately demanding game like Rocket League, that was probably a wise choice. The biggest thing that stands out about the gaming experience, though, is the screen, because 7-inch doesn't sound a lot bigger than the 6.2 inches of the Nintendo Switch, but it feels downright immersive, especially compared to the 5.5-inch display on the Gpd Win3. Where it falls behind, however, is the speakers. While they're large, they did not meet my expectations and could be best described as tinny and hollow. Thankfully, the controller experience makes up a significant amount of this ground. They're Joy-Con style, which means that if your hands are better described as paws, you might end up cramping after an extended play session, but as someone with smaller hands who is used to using the Nintendo Switch, I found them just downright usable. That is, as long as I wasn't trying to play a racing game. Unlike the Win3, the Neo does not have analog-style trigger buttons. As for performance, it's really good. Even though AMD's Zen 2-based 4500U isn't quite enough to keep up with the 11th gen core chosen by GPD, esports games like Rocket League run well enough that I would describe them as butter smooth. And as for AAA games, while EA's claim that it can run Cyberpunk should be taken with a grain of salt, the game does technically run, even if it feels extremely sluggish and definitely doesn't look its best. Emulation, on the other hand, is frankly awesome. And since we're relying on AMD rather than Intel graphics drivers, we encountered far fewer random incompatibilities and glitches. A bigger performance issue we ran into seemed to be related to Wi-Fi. In online matches, we'd experienced lag spikes and irregularities that were resolved by plugging in a dongle and switching to a wire. So what we'd like to see before they ship this thing is maybe some tweaks to the Wi-Fi antenna while they're also fixing the speakers. But there's good news, because other than those two complaints, if you're the kind of person who wants a device like this in your life, EA is off to an incredibly good start here. Like, GPD has been playing in this game for a lot longer, and it does show in the maturity of their designs, but the Neo is already a dangerous competitor, and I expect that the rivalry between these two is only gonna heat up once mobile Ryzen chips with AMD's Zen 3 architecture start showing up. In fact, I was reading today, GPD is working on a Zen-based Win Max. Woohoo! Anyway, as always, we won't outright recommend a crowdfunded product. It's not finished yet, but at around the same price as the Win3, this one is compelling enough that, as I said before, we're at least gonna put the link in the description and let you decide if you wanna back it. Just like you need to decide to check out our sponsor. War Thunder is a free-to-play online military vehicle combat game that's available for Windows, Mac, Linux, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S with crossplay. There's over 34 million players from all over the world, and it features an incredible arsenal of more than 1,700 historically accurate playable tanks, aircrafts, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s. They've got massive combined arms battles on over 80 major battlefields from World War II to the end of the Cold War, and the game is always being developed with free major updates every couple of months that add even more content, including vehicles, maps, and new gameplay features. So head to the link below and start playing War Thunder for free. You'll be able to get a bonus premium vehicle just for signing up. If you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoy learning about these kinds of handheld devices, we talked about it a lot, go watch the video about the Gpd Win3. It's also pretty sick.